the platform you are checking, and let me know if you see me. Hi, welcome everybody. It's good to have you. So I'm sure you can hear me. And I'm just going to go straight to today's session. Today's session, we're looking at section 3 of Nigerian Tax Act, where exactly it begins. So I've captioned today's section as where it all begins. That is, the power to tax belongs to the government, and is what the law says. So I'm going to share my screen with you in a moment. Then we'll go through it straight up. I do know that so if you have my screen, let me know. Do you have my screen? Do you have my screen?
Okay.
You see my screen?
Yes, I'm seeing your screen. Yes.
Okay then. Yeah, so we're just going to go into today's session, and so the first thing we'll look at today is who really is to pay the tax. And from what we have seen in the law, section 3 is very clear. Who should pay the tax, right? And this is what the law says. It says profits or gain of any company or enterprise. That's what subsection A. So if you are a company or an enterprise, your income will be subjected to tax, subject to other provisions in this act. And so at this moment, if you recall, when we started this tax class yesterday, we talked about the objective and application of the law. And today, we are just looking at the section 3, which talks about the imposition of tax. So where is the government deriving the power from? And so the power to subject you to tax is derived from this tax act, Nigerian Tax Act 2025, and the section 3 of it. It says that a company or an enterprise, the government have power to subject you to tax. Also, if you run a family business, wherein you do have it is your family business that you run. The business is neither registered in your name or in the name of a limited liability, but you're running it as a family business. So the law is saying that the government has power to tax your family business, even though it's not in your name. The law is also recognizing that there are trustees. Trustees are those who hold assets on behalf of others, or an estate. An estate is that body or that entity that is set up to administer the asset of a deceased. So once the estate earns money, the law is saying that the revenue or the profit from the estate administration can be subjected to tax. So we'll quickly move to the general rule. So this section is talking about the general rule, and the general rule here is about the strict statutory compliance, that everybody must comply statutorily. So what we have seen in recent times is a lot of experts have tried to, or a lot of people, not experts, a lot of citizens have tried to say that why is government taxing people? They are trying to determine who the government should tax. But what we are saying is, or what the law is saying, is there is no discretion. You cannot say to government who government should tax. It is the law that will determine who should be taxed. So you do not have the power or discretion to dictate to the law, but rather the law is already written and have provision of who to tax. So if you are in employment that you earn salaries, if the law has determined that those earning salaries in your range of income, then you do not have any power to say you are not going to be subject yourself to tax. If you run a business, you own your own business, either as a limited liability company or as an enterprise, the law has the power, the law empowers the government to subject you to tax according to the provisions of the tax law. If you have investment and you generate income from the investment, the income from the investment is subject to tax. And so you have to be prepared. You do not have the luxury to say to government that when I was making my investment, you were not there. And so you do not have the authority or the power to tax me. No. If you do that, you will be running against the law. So the law is clear. You have the obligation to obey the law, irrespective of anywhere you are generating your money from. Once you generate income in Nigeria, the law is clear. The law is saying to you that you have to ensure that you stay within the law and you subject your income to tax. Now, several people run their business in different ways. So we have those that run with limited liability company, and we have those that run with enterprises. Both income from this type of businesses are taxable, subject to the provision. And I will quickly make a distinction or further clarification. So at the moment, we have classification of companies. You can be a small company and large company, as we have it now. If you find yourself running your business as a limited liability with small company, that's part B of CAC. you will not have to pay company income tax. So your company income tax as a limited liability is 0 naira. However, you as the owner of the company or directors of the company, provided you are not more than 5, the law says that you must declare dividend. When you declare the dividend, right? The dividend declared, if you also place yourself on salary or you have some allowances, those income will be subjected to tax in your name under personal income tax. I'm making this clarification because I've seen a number of people saying, because I'm running business name now, I will go and convert to limited liability and I will not pay tax. That's not what the law says. What the law says is a small company will not pay tax. However, if you as the owner of the business, you benefit anything from the business, i.e., you take dividend, you draw salary, you draw allowances, those funds will be subjected to personal income tax. And that's exactly what enterprise do, right? Those running enterprises are under Class A. And so enterprise is not a legal entity. So all the income will be taxed in the hand of the owner. So by the time you hand your revenue as an enterprise, the law allows you to deduct all your expenses. Then you will then have your profit. That your profit will be assessed to tax as a personal income tax, right? So that's what I need to clarify there. So either way, the law has empowered the tax authorities to subject you to tax. Now, subsection B of section 3 also tries to say to us which income that is subjected to tax. So as I explained earlier, if you're a salaried employee, your income is taxable. If you have rental income, you built a house, you put people there as tenants, the income you get from your renter is taxable. You run a family business, the income from the family business is taxable. So everybody, whatever you do, the law has empowered the tax authorities to tax you. Also, if you are a trustee, maybe you are a trustee to a minor, or you hold some assets in trust, you have obligated to pay your taxes. If you are an executor of an estate, the estate property are taxable. If you hold assets for a minor, you will pay the tax as a trustee on that income. So it is not permissible that you will move assets to your children. You buy assets in the name of your children and you are generating income from them, and you think that you can evade tax through that. No. If you hold assets that are generating revenue on behalf of minor, you have to pay the tax. So we are taking our time to explain all of this to show how the tax authorities have blocked all the loopholes. So what you don't want to do is to continue to struggle with the law that is already written. What you will just find yourself doing is running into tax trouble. And when you do run into tax trouble, it makes you pay more than you should pay. It is essential that, like I continue to say on this show, you have to have some kind of renewal of your mind. The law is already written. The law is there to be followed. The people to follow it have been empowered by the provisions of the law. The person to comply should find a way to minimize the taxes legally. Doing anything otherwise will expose you to a lot of trouble. And so you need to understand what we are saying so that you are not in any form of trouble. Now, what else do we need to look at today? I want you to look at practical ways to adopt as we go forward. The practical ways you need to adopt as we go forward, because you will need to have a plan in place. How do you intend to organize or arrange yourself as we move forward? The first thing I will expect you to do is to find a way to take your record seriously. You need to start understanding that without your record, you stand no chance with the tax authorities, right? You also need to understand that the tax law is requiring you to maintain your records for a minimum of 6 years. So you keep the record and you also maintain it for a minimum of 6 years, right? Secondly, you need to understand that there is difference between revenue and profit. I have seen a lot of people talk about whatever income gets, whatever cash amount in your bank account, that the tax authority will take them as income and then apply taxes on it. That's not correct. What the law says is that you will ensure that you book your revenue accurately and you make sure you take out your allowable expenses, then you have profit. So when you have profit, then you pay taxes on it. There are some companies that the law has set a rate, a minimum rate for them a minimum rate of tax that is acceptable or allowed, right? But for as many companies that are small or are not multinationals, you don't have that. So, but what is essential for us to clear here is that government is not running after the cash flow in your bank account. The government do understand that not all the amount of money in your bank account is revenue or sales. So you don't have to worry about such things. But what you do have to worry about is maybe you have a penchant or you want to try to make sure that government doesn't know your complete your complete income. That's what you should start telling yourself, that you want to do away with that so that you don't get into trouble, right? Another thing that I think is important for you as you go forward is you may want to start making sure that you check your prior records. You want to make sure that if you need help, get other people, get your consultants to talk to you, to guide you through, and so you are not setting yourself up for unnecessary tax penalties. Those are the things I think you should do. And like I said to you, understand this. The law has been written, like I said, and because the law is written, the law has made provision for how you should comply with it. The law has made provision for how those who refuse to comply will be enforced. And so it is now left to you to decide how you want to be. But if I were you, I'll make sure that my accounts are in order. I'll make sure that I seek help where necessary. I'll make sure I avoid self-help. Self-help is desperately looking for ways to hide what is not hideable, if I can say. Trust me, the infrastructure being built, you will not be able to hide. You can't hide any income. So even if you think you successfully do it, at some point it will come back at you. There will be a trail. Every of your transaction will be seen. Now, imagine if AI is deployed to do mapping of your transactions. Everything you think you're hiding will come to the open. So AI doesn't get tired. So you don't have to say that how will they even check the records of everybody? AI will not get tired. AI will expose whatever records that you are hiding, and in no time, you have to answer for them. I've also had people talk about they are going to resolve into under the table economy, i.e., they're going to collect cash, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. So the people you will deal with, because they also have incentives to deal with people with tax ID, they also have incentives to pay into people's bank account. You may not really find alibis like that, or you may not be able to grow as much as you should if you keep looking for things that will not help you in the long run. So if I were you, I will prepare my mind. I'll try to make more money so that I can be happy. That's where I will stop today. And when I come again your way on Monday, we'll be moving to section 4. And section 4 is really, really a lengthy section. I don't see us finishing section 4 in a day. We may have to break it into parts because it gives a comprehensive list of all types of income, profit, and gain. So we have to dwell on section 4 for a little while. The intention of this studio is not to rush things, but is to break things down so that we are happy. We are happy when you don't fall into tax troubles. From my personal experience and from where I sit, what I do know is that a lot of people that are not meant to pay any tax, because they will be trying to hide or trying to be smart, they're going to end up paying more in penalties So I don't want you to be penny wise, pound foolish. And that's why we are drumming it now. We are leaving all of these things on the internet for you to learn, to watch, take your time, make up your mind. It's not as easy if you have not been paying taxes before and the law is just coming and you suddenly see that you have to pay taxes. We understand that you feel somehow, but the truth is the law has been set and the way to enforce has also been set. You don't want to fall victim. I don't pray you fall victim because I know that it will be costly. So I'll pause now and take some questions. And if there are no questions, we will pause the class for today and we'll see on Monday. So I see some questions here, and I'm going to attempt to answer them. So one of the questions says, says that, do I believe side hustles should be taxed? Why or why not? Yes, I believe side hustles should be taxed because as you generate income, every income needs to be taxed. So that's the law, and that's what it makes sense. Yeah, there is a reason why government is expected to tax, and sometimes it's for the collective good of everybody. So I believe that tax should be on side hustles. What's the difference between revenue and profit? I already explained, but I'll make a further comment. Revenue is the income you make from your primary activity. Profit is after you have taken out all your expenses, all your liable expenses, according to tax regulation, then you have profit, and it is the profit you will have to pay your taxes on. So another question, if your company made 10 million last year, but reinvested all of it in expansion, should you still be taxed? Well, what I do know in this tax act, and we'll get there subsequently, is that if you have a company that is run among 1 to 5 directors, the law is saying that you cannot just decide that you are not paying dividend. The tax authorities can deem a percentage of your retained earnings. They can deem it as profit. So that's the provision of the law. Yes. What you then have to do, I made a video on that previously, but what you have to do is to make sure that you document your reinvestment activities so that maybe you are able to convince the tax authorities, but there's a limit to how you can keep funds in retained earnings without being deemed to have distributed it. Another question, if your late father's estate still collects rent, who is responsible for paying the tax for that rent? So the estates, the executors of the estate should pay tax on it. However, if it is distributed to you, you also, if it is distributed to you without paying the taxes, you also need to remit taxes on that. Do you think government should tax small side hustles or only big hustles? The government already made provisions for for small businesses. They have exempted them. They classify them as small companies. And yeah, they are not trying to tax small companies. What you can be sure of is that these laws have not tried to increase taxes for people, but rather they've just tried to bring in more people into the tax net. And it does make sense, right? Some people cannot be feasting on others. So if you earn income, pay your fair share of the tax. That's what the law is saying. And I think I align with it. I align with it. So on that note, I think I have exhausted a number of all my questions. Thank you, Joanna. I see your appreciative message. Thank you. We'll keep coming. We'll keep breaking down one section of this law at a time so that we do not fall victim of enforcement and hammer. So until I come your way on Monday, stay blessed and keep safe. Bye for now.